Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be a bit more serious in tone, and I'm going to be talking about the recent lawsuit and allegations that have been made against Shangela. Just to warn you up front, we will be talking about the topic of SA, so please bear that in mind, and I'll be referring to it as SA throughout this video due to YouTube's rules. Please also be responsible in what you comment on this video and don't send hate to anyone. Please just consume this video passively. Okay, so many of you will know that there have been multiple allegations of SA made against Shangela, and I did talk about this in a previous video which I'll link to in the description. But very recently, a new lawsuit against Shangela has been filed. So in this video, I'm going to go through more in depth into the timeline of the allegations against Shangela, and I'll then talk about the recent lawsuit. I have talked about some of these things in my previous video, but this video will be more in depth. So back in March 2024, Rolling Stone published an investigative report where they detailed several allegations of SA made against Shangela. They refer to Shangela by her legal name, which is Darius Jeremy Pierce, or DJ Pierce, but for ease, I'll be referring to her as Shangela with she/her pronouns for this video. So the Rolling Stone article mentioned how successful Shangela was and how her career exploded after her time on Drag Race, including being on shows such as Dancing with the Stars and also appearing in the Lady Gaga movie A Star Is Born. And the reason this background information is presented in the article is because several of the alleged victims say that there was a power imbalance or that they were starstruck when they met Shangela. 5 people in total made allegations against Shangela in this article, which spans between 2012 to 2018. The people were between the ages of 18 to 23 and said that Shangela was considerably older than them at the time of the alleged incidents. I'll go through the allegations in order in which they were mentioned in the article, which may not be chronological, but I'll try and keep it as succinct as possible. So the first allegation mentioned was from Daniel McGarrigle, who was a production assistant on the show We're Here, which Shangela starred in along with Bob the Drag Queen and Eureka. Daniel filed a lawsuit against Shangela and his employer, Buckingham Television, in May 2023. Buckingham said that they received a complaint back in 2021 about an incident which was alleged to have happened back in 2020, and they had investigated but found that there was not sufficient evidence. According to Daniel, Shangela got him drunk and he woke up in a hotel room, and allegedly Shangela was trying to forcibly perform an act against his will. I can't go into detail because it's likely too graphic for YouTube's rules, but I'll link to the full Rolling Stone article in the description so you can read it for yourself if you'd like to. Then, in February 2024, all parties reached an agreement and the case was dismissed. Daniel's lawyer said to Rolling Stone, quote, "This case has been resolved and the defendants and their counsel acted in good faith. As such, I feel it would be inappropriate to discuss this matter or its resolution. I don't know anything about the new allegations, but I certainly recognise the courage it takes for a victim to come forward." Several other sources also spoke to Rolling Stone about allegations against Shangela, and apparently BuzzFeed News was set to publish an article about this with their allegations, including Daniel, who had spoken to BuzzFeed News previously. However, BuzzFeed News shut down in April 2023, so this article never came out. Rolling Stone then started their own investigation, and that's when 3 other people came forward with allegations, which made 5 people in total. The next accuser is named Helmer, who was 20 at the time of the alleged assault and is only using his first name out of fear of employment retaliation. Helmer filed a complaint in June 2023, but due to a procedural error, the police did not pick up on the case until December 2023. Helmer said the reason he was speaking up was because he had seen the allegations made against Shangela in the Los Angeles Times, because multiple news agencies had picked up on the story at this point. Helmer alleges that in 2017, he was working at a popular bar in LA, and he and Shangela exchanged contact numbers and social media accounts. According to some Instagram direct messages which Rolling Stone has reviewed, Shangela, who was 36 at the time, asked Helmer to go for dinner. The two of them went out for drinks the following night. Helmer said he only had 1 drink and has no memory of the rest of the night. He said he woke up without any clothes on in what he believes was Shangela's bed at her house. Helmer asked Shangela why he had no clothes on, and Shangela allegedly said, quote, "We had sex and there was another guy involved that you brought in." Helmer asked who the other guy was, and Shangela said she didn't know, but, quote, "You were really into it." Helmer said it took him days to realise that he was assaulted, and he didn't report the incident at the time because he didn't think he had enough evidence. However, he did confide in his roommate and his current boyfriend, who also spoke to Rolling Stone and corroborated that Helmer had told them what happened. However, Shangela's lawyer, Andrew Bretler, said that Helmer's allegation was, quote, absurd, and reported that Shangela claimed that everything was consensual and that Helmer had apparently continued to be in contact with Shangela months after the alleged incident, and Helmer never once mentioned that Shangela had assaulted him. The next alleged victim is Edward Ramirez, who claims that Shangela assaulted him during a night out in Texas in 2018 when Edward was 21 years old. Edward posted about meeting Shangela that night on a site called ATRL, which is an internet forum that discusses pop culture. In the Rolling Stone article, they link to an Imgur post with screenshots of Edward's posts, where he posted photos with Shangela and said how excited he was to hang out with her. Then, in later posts, it's alluded to that there may have been some non-consensual activity between them. According to Edward, Shangela was very drunk and forced him into the floor of a closet and tried to force herself upon him multiple times, but Edward said no, and Edward described it as a, quote, abuse of power. I'll put the link to the full Imgur post in the description if you want to read the full exchange. Edward told Rolling Stone that he was very clear with saying no to Shangela, and when he shared his story, he showed a lot more grace and mercy than he would have done if he had taken a bit more time to consider what happened to him. Edward said he provided his own drinks that night, and he didn't report it to the police because he distrusts the authorities in Texas as a black queer man. Shangela's lawyers initially said that Edward came forward because he was motivated by Daniel McGarrigle's lawsuit. However, Edward said he's never met or spoken to Daniel before, and on top of that, he had posted about the incident on the ATRL forum back in 2018, which was 4 years before Daniel came forward with his allegations. According to Rolling Stone, after spending the night together, Shangela and Edward texted, and they were coordinating a meeting between Shangela and a drag queen friend of Edward. Shangela asked to hang out, but Edward said, quote, "LOL, hanging out where? It's 4 AM, haha," which Edward said was a polite rejection to Shangela's further advances. Shangela's lawyer said they could provide 3 witness statements from people who were also at Shangela's property that night to attest that Shangela and Edward were never alone during that time and they never saw any of the alleged activity take place. Edward explained that the alleged incident happened in a walk-in closet as people were leaving for the night. The next alleged victim in the article is identified as Chekri. By the way, I'm not 100% sure how you pronounce this name, but I found a pronunciation video which said it's pronounced like Chekri, so that's how I'll pronounce it, but this may not be correct. Chekri is a London-based musician who alleges that he was assaulted by Shangela in November 2017 when Chekri was 18 years old. Chekri said he met Shangela, who was 37 at the time, at a club in London. Shangela apparently was buying rounds of drinks for everyone, including Chekri. He apparently went to Shangela's hotel room with a group of other people, and after everyone else left, it was just him and Shangela alone. Chekri alleges that he was so drunk that he was not able to consent. He vomited on the bed and alleges that Shangela tried to force herself upon him. Chekri said he felt, quote, humiliated afterwards, and he told 2 of his friends about the incident, and they corroborated to Rolling Stone that he had told them about it. But he didn't go to the authorities because of a lack of trust. Shangela's lawyer responded by saying that Chekri was the one who pursued a physical relationship with Shangela and not the other way around. And while they admit that drinks were consumed, no one was visibly so intoxicated that they could not make decisions for themselves. According to Shangela, they were making out fully clothed, and Chekri vomited and Shangela encouraged him to go home, and he was, quote, embarrassed and apologetic, and they claim that they cuddled in bed fully clothed but did not have intercourse. A witness provided by Shangela's lawyer said that he was with Chekri and Shangela during the night in question, and Shangela apparently called him in to help with Chekri because he had vomited on the hotel bed, and Shangela kicked Chekri out of the hotel room. The fourth accuser is named Zachary, who alleges that back in 2015, when he was 23 years old, Shangela assaulted him after an event in New Orleans. Zachary claims that after they had the meet and greet at the event, Shangela insisted they should have drinks and she supplied the drinks. Zachary says he blacked out and woke up to find an unidentified man plus Shangela trying to force themselves upon him. Zachary said, quote, "I heard Shangela say, 'stick it in him,' and I quickly said, 'no.' I am pretty sure that the unidentified man didn't do anything, but I passed out again, so I'm not positive." Two of Zachary's friends said he told them about what happened the next day, and they said from the sounds of it there may have been an assault, but Zachary remained starstruck. Zachary said he was a big fan of Drag Race and was starstruck by Shangela, but when he saw that Daniel McGarrigle's accusations had been circulated online, he said the allegations were very similar to what happened to him 7 years previously, and he realised it was, quote, something bigger. Shangela's lawyer responded to this by saying that Zachary maintained a friendship with Shangela until 2016 and never mentioned the allegations to Shangela. The fifth accuser is named Roylee Solis, who alleges that back in 2012, when they were 20, they met Shangela at a Pride event at Texas A&M University. Shangela apparently invited them to a non-school affiliated event at a club. Roylee said Shangela provided them with alcohol and they ended up back in Shangela's hotel room. Shangela invited them to stay the night, and Roylee said yes because they were a fan of Shangela. Roylee had told Shangela they wanted to be a drag queen one day, and so Shangela had applied some makeup and given Roylee a wig to try on, and Roylee thought this was a start of a friendship. However, Roylee said when they were falling asleep, Shangela tried to coerce him into performing oral sex. Roylee said they were so drunk they didn't have the strength to say no because Shangela had gotten them so drunk. And the next day they felt, quote, so nasty and felt like it was their fault for getting so drunk. Shangela had already left the hotel room by the morning and left a note which said, quote, good morning, didn't want to wake you, keep in touch, signed DJ/Shangela. Shangela's lawyer said Shangela had no recollection of meeting Leroy, and Shangela does not necessarily dispute that she may have met Leroy over a decade ago, but she adamantly denies ever engaging in non-consensual activity. Another accuser named in the article is Joel, who said he was working as an off-the-books assistant for Shangela back in 2018, and they were friends until they stopped communicating in 2022. Joel said he had a sexual relationship with Shangela while also working as her assistant, and he was unhoused at the time, so he didn't really have any options. Joel claims he witnessed Shangela drink with, quote, young skinny men, and Shangela would tell Joel how attractive the men were, and they would also go to Shangela's hotel room or hang out in the hot tub. Joel claims that Shangela liked to drink and, quote, the name of the game was how many people could he get drunk? How many people could he get to come to the after party in his hotel room and then they'd still be drinking there? Shangela's lawyer said Joel was not credible and just wanted attention. They claimed that Joel and Shangela had a relationship, although Joel denies this because he said they never actually discussed a relationship. Shangela's lawyer also said that Joel did not work for Shangela after 2018, and that Joel had previously lied about his work and that the two of them had dated back in 2018. The lawyer also claimed that after the two of them parted ways, Joel would send Shangela unsolicited, provocative and flirtatious messages and photos, even as recently as 2022, and that, quote, Joel's after-the-fact attempt to paint Mr. Pierce, which is Shangela, as a predator is entirely inconsistent with his private communications with Mr. Pierce. And so that was all of the allegations from the Rolling Stone article from 2024. However, very recently in February 2025, a new lawsuit was filed against Shangela by another accuser, which has been widely reported on in the media, which I'll talk about now. According to Entertainment Weekly, they obtained court documents on Monday the 24th of February, which were filed by Dakota Payne, who is a gay adult film star, and he also appeared as a contestant on the reality TV show Vanjie 24 Hours of Love. However, the court documents use Dakota's real name, which is Eric Poff. Eric had previously posted his allegations in a video on his Instagram back in September 2024. His Instagram is now private, however, when I made my first video on Shangela months ago, I took screenshots while his Instagram was still public. However, a copy of the video was uploaded to the RPDR drama subreddit at the time, which is where I was able to watch it, and I'll link to that in the description. In the video, Eric stated that in the past he had had a previous incident with Shangela, and then recently he had seen her in a restaurant and went up to her and said, quote, "I know what you did," and that he believes the other men that came forward in the Rolling Stone article. And apparently Shangela responded to him by saying, quote, "I'm sorry you feel that way." Eric then explained that back in 2017, he was working as a PA on the set of the movie Hurricane Bianca 2. He had gone out with the cast and crew several times, and he was very excited to be around these popular drag queens. Eric described that after wrapping the movie, he and Shangela went out one-on-one, and this isolated incident occurred then. He said that they had been drinking, and then later he came to in a hotel room, and Shangela and another unidentified man were having sex with him, and afterwards Eric was made to feel like he wanted it. Eric apparently said to the two of them, quote, "Well, that felt a lot like work. Basically, if you're going to treat me like a whore, pay me like a whore." Eric said he swept this incident under the rug and compartmentalized it, but it wasn't until the Rolling Stone article came out that he realized that so many other people had made SA allegations against Shangela, and their stories were so similar to Eric's. And after Eric posted this video, several drag queens such as Bianca Del Rio, Crystal and Honey Davenport commented on the post with messages of support. Shangela's co-star in We're Here, Bob the Drag Queen, even talked about Shangela's accusations around the same time on an episode of her podcast with Monet Exchange. Bob said the reason she hadn't said anything up until then was because she just didn't know what was going on, but she said that it was, quote, "incredibly damning that 6 people have now come forward with allegations against Shangela." And as I said, this video of Eric's came out in September/October 2024. But going back to the recent lawsuit as reported on by Entertainment Weekly, Eric has now filed an official lawsuit which, quote, demands a jury trial and compensatory damage. The lawsuit alleges that during the filming of Hurricane Bianca in October 2017, Eric was in a bar and believes he had his drink spiked because he has no memory of what happened. He said he woke up on a hotel bed and was fading in and out of consciousness. He alleges that an unidentified man was trying to force himself upon him without consent and Shangela was watching, and then later Shangela did the same. And Eric claims that he was not able to give consent because of his semi-conscious state. After the alleged assault, Shangela apparently sent Eric money via PayPal. According to Entertainment Weekly, as well as the SA allegation, quote, the complaint alleges that the act violated New York's Victims of Gender-Motivated Violence Protection Law, which was passed in 2000 and amended in 2022 to include an extension of the statute of limitations. When Eric's lawsuit was made public very recently, multiple news outlets picked up on it, and Shangela responded via a series of Instagram posts. In one Instagram story, Shangela said, "Hi y'all, I started off my week super grateful for life, texted with my mom, repacked my drag bag, and just been minding my own little gay business. Then here comes some BS. Being falsely accused in the most heinous ways is very difficult to endure. I'm advised to stay silent and I'm doing my best to continue on without engaging in a back and forth with dishonest people seeking money or a moment. It's not worth it, I tell myself. Even though none of these fake claims have ever prevailed against me, my career, my character, and even my family have suffered. I appreciate all y'all who see through this type of mess and have even checked on me during dark times. Honestly, my heart thanks you." Shangela continued in a second Instagram story which said, "Growing up in a small town, my dream was always to entertain people and hopefully make a positive impact on the world. I worked non-stop publicly and privately to achieve this. I never imagined, though, that fulfilling my dream would also come with shocking betrayals and slanderous attacks. It seems like the farther you go, the more some people want to see you fail. But I won't give up. I hope none of you ever have to go through this. It hurts. Their goal is to characterize a successful black gay drag queen as a threat. But my goal is never to let evil win. I will continue to fight back with the truth, and with time I know the truth will prevail. Still grateful for life and sending love always. XO Shanji. Shangela also posted this as a grid post on Instagram, but the comments have been switched off. And nothing else has happened as of yet, but this is now the 6th person who has accused Shangela of SA, and this is the 2nd lawsuit filed, with the first one having been dismissed after they reached a settlement. So we'll have to wait and see what happens and if any further information comes out about this lawsuit. But please remember that these videos are just for educational and entertainment purposes. I'm simply reporting on publicly available information that other outlets have reported on. Please do not send hate to anyone involved, whether you believe they are responsible or not. Please just consume this information passively and let the relevant authorities do their work. And if you or someone else you know has been affected by SA or something similar, please know that help is available and you do not have to go through this alone. There are many SA support groups and organisations out there which differ from country to country, so please check your local organisations and make sure you reach out for support.